Yes.
Good morning, students. Today we are going to be study the subject Science 1, chapter number 1, gravitation. Before going to be gravitation, we have already learned what is the gravitation. So let's recall. The first questions, can you recall what are the effects of force acting on an object? The force applied to any object can cause the displacement, means when you apply the force on any object, it changes its position. That is nothing but the displacement. Second, it can change the shape and the size of any object. That means it when you apply the force on any object, or you press, or you give the force to any object, it change the shape and size of the object. Second, it can also change the direction. For example, that is when you apply the force on any object moving from one side to another side, when you apply the force, it change the direction of that object. Last, when you apply the force, it stop the moving object, right? When you apply the force, what happened? When it is in motion, it stop. That is a stop the moving object. We already have learned all these phenomena. Now second questions. What type of forces are you familiar with? Types of forces, we have learned so many types of forces. For example, electrostatic force, nuclear force, frictional force, gravitational force, right? We have already known about all these forces. Types of forces: electrostatic, nuclear, frictional and gravitation. Now, last questions. What do you know about the gravitational force? So what is the gravitational force? So in this chapter we are going to be study the gravitational force. The very first gravitational force, the force which applied by the object, by the earth to pull the object towards itself. The earth has a gravitational force to attract itself, okay, towards the center of the earth. It is known as the gravitational force. These all are the sum of the recap that we have now taken. Now let's come to the concept. Gravitation. What is the gravitation? When earth attract or pull object towards itself, it is called gravitational force. Okay, these are the some small introduction about the gravitational force, and that we have already learned in previous standard. Now let's start with the chapter gravitation. As we have learned, the phenomena of gravitation was discovered by Sir Isaac Newton. As the story goes, he discovered the force by seeing an apple fall from a tree on the ground. He wondered why all the apple fall vertically downward and not an angle to the vertical. Why do they fly off in a horizontal direction? So, the discovery of the gravitational force. So, we have already known of the story of the Sir Isaac Newton who discovered the gravitational force. When he sat on the down the tree, the one apple fall on his head. He wondered why this apple falls downward, not in any direction, not in vertical, not in horizontal, or not in any direction. Why this apple fall vertically downward only? So he assumed that after thought of much, he concluded might be earth have the some type of force who makes the apple to fall on vertical direction, not in other direction. So what type of force it is? Okay, so let's see what type of force. This is the force is nothing but your gravitational force. He again concluded why this gravitational force only pull the things towards itself, not in other direction. If the earth contain the gravitational force, then why this force only take or pull the every object towards the downward or vertically downward? After thinking so much, he concluded that might be the earth has the center of gravity. That is, the gravitational force might be concentrated at the center. That's why all the objects which fall vertically downward always pull towards the center of the earth or vertically downward. And this force is always a perpendicular to the center of the earth. Now let's see the content. Newton thought, if the force of gravitation acts on apple on the tree at the different heights from the surface of the earth, can it also act on objects at even greater heights? Right. This force only acts on the object which is on the earth or might be farther away from the earth, right? So that means it not only act on the tree or not only act on the apple, might be act on the farther away object like moon. Okay, why the moon? The always rotating around the earth. So this is nothing but the because of the gravitational force. Okay, now can it act also on the farther away object like sun? We'll take one example, or simple our solar system. This is our sun who at the foci and who always have the rotating the planet around the sun. That means some gravitational force which is present in the universe who also act on the other astronomical bodies. That means this gravitational force is present not only on the earth but also present on other astronomical bodies. Okay, that is in the universe. Okay, now come to the next point, force and motion. What is the force? In last year we have already studied force. Force is what? Force is nothing but when you apply the energy to any object or you apply the force, it change the shape of the object, it displaces the object, it change the direction, it stop the moving object, right? This is nothing but the force. In last 9th standard we have studied the force and the motion. In the first chapter, laws of the motion. Motion means what? Motion means the moving object. An object in a moving state, what do we call it? It is in a motion. Now, let's start. We have seen that a force is necessary to change the speed as well as the direction of motion of an object. Can you recall what are Newton's laws of motion? 3 laws of motion we have studied. Newton's. The first, Newton's laws of motion. What is the first law of motion? When any object, if it is in a motion or it is in a rest, it continuously in rest or in motion unless and until the external unbalanced force acts on it. This is known as the Newton's first law of motion. Second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force, and the change of momentum occurs in the direction of the force. Third, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. We have already learned the Newton's laws of motion equation also. The first equation of the motion. V is equal to ut plus half of at square
First.
Now let's take the introduction about the Newton. Great scientist Sir Isaac Newton, 1642 to 1727, was one of the greatest scientists of recent times. He was born in England. He gave his laws of motion, equation of motion and theory of gravity in his book Principia. Okay? Newton, who was born in England, gave his all the conclusion, all his theory of motion and equation of gravity in the books of Principia. Okay? Now before the books was written, Kepler and had given the three laws describing the planetary motion. Before the writing of the books by the Newton, the laws are already given by the Kepler. Okay? With the help of Kepler law, the Newton coming to the conclusion of about the gravitational force and the Newton's law of gravitation. Okay? Now Kepler's laws was not known. Newton with his theory, gravity mathematically derived from the Kepler's law. Okay, whatever the derivation which is given by the Newton is derived from whom? By the Kepler's law. In this chapter we are also going to study the Kepler's law. Okay. In addition to this, Newton did the groundbreaking work in several areas including light, heat, sound and mathematics. He invented new branch of mathematics. This is called the calculus, which having the ranging application in physical and mathematics. Okay. After the short introduction, now come to the point: circular motion and the centripetal force. Circular motion. What is a circular motion? In last year we have already taken the short introduction of the circular motion. Okay, when object moving in a circular path is known as circular motion. And during the circular motion, which force acted? That is nothing but the centripetal force. Okay, before going to the concept, let's do the one activity. Tie a stone to an end of a string. You have to tie the one stone at the one of the thread. Okay, what you have to do? You have to rotate this stone in a circular direction. Now which motion it is in now? It is the stone is moving in a circular motion. Okay, and which force is acting? This force acting on the stone is centripetal force. Now, are you applying any force on the stone? Yes, we are applying the force on the stone while moving the stone into the circular motion or in a circular path. How will you stop this force from acting? What will be the effect on stone? How we can stop this? Just by throwing it. Okay, when you release the stone or the thread, what happened? It moved away. Okay, and it moved in which direction? It is moved in tangent way or in a tangent direction, right? Now, as long as we are holding the string, we are pulling the stone towards us, that is towards the center of the circle, and are applying a force towards. The force stops acting if we release the string. In this case, the stone will fly off. Obviously, when we are moving the stone in one direction, as we release it, what happens? It will move from the circular path, that is in a tangent direction. The same experiment we can do with the disc. In last standard, when we put a 1 rupees coin on a disc which is moving in a circular motion or in a circular path or in a round, okay, when you put the disc, it moves with the disc and ultimately it thrown by the disc in a one direction, that is in your tangent of the circle. Okay. Now the force which stop the acting if we release the string, in this case the stone will fly off along a straight line which is the tangent to the circle at the position of the stone when the string is released, because that is the direction of its velocity and the instant of time. Why this release in tangent direction? Because of the velocity and the instant time. Okay. You may have recalled that similarly we have performed this experiment or activity with the 5 rupees coin which is kept on a disc. Now, what is the centripetal force? What we can conclude from this, with these two activities, with the stone which is tied to the thread and the disc which is we have taken and put the 1 rupees or 5 rupees coin over it, what we conclude? We conclude the definition of the centripetal force. What is the centripetal force? Centripetal force. Centripetal force, a force which acts on any object. ऐसा फोर्स जो हर ऑब्जेक्ट पर एक्ट कर रहा है, और वो कब एक्ट कर रहा है? जब वो सर्कुलर मोशन में घूम रही है. ओके. द फोर्स विच एक्ट ऑन एनी ऑब्जेक्ट along a circle, moving along circle. And it is directed towards the center of the circle. That's why it is always called the center sitting force. इसको हम center sitting force भी कहते हैं. Okay. Centripetal force, force which act on any object moving along the circle and it is directed towards the center of the circle. The centripetal force is always a center seeking force. Now, you know that the moon, which is a natural satellite of the earth, goes around it in a definite orbit. The direction of motion of the moon as well as its speed constantly changes during the motion. Do you think some force is constantly acting on the moon? What must be the direction of this force? How will its motion have been? No, if no such force acted it. Do other planets in the solar system revolve around us in a similar fashion? Is similar force acting on them? What must be the direction? Now, we all know about the natural satellite. Which is the natural satellite of the moon? Moon, who's revolving around the earth. Is always rotating, revolving around the earth and rotating itself also. What kind of force which makes it to rotate in particular orbit? The force, what kind of force acting? Okay, so force which makes it to rotate itself also and around the earth also the force is nothing but the centripetal force. कौन सा फोर्स है जो उसको जमीन अर्थ के अराउंड घूमने के लिए मदद कर रहा है और खुद के भी अराउंड घूमने के लिए मदद कर रहा है? दिस इज नथिंग बट द सेंट्रीपिटल force. Okay, and this force not only acted on the earth, not only acted on the moon, but also on the other planets in our solar system. Okay, like example sun. Sun is always rotating around itself also. Okay, and other planets who are rotating around itself also and around the earth also. The same happened with your moon. Okay, this is the sun, earth and the moon. Now which force acted over it? The centripetal force, who makes the other astronomical bodies, moon, earth and the sun, to rotate around the earth also, moon, okay, and the earth around the sun also. Okay, now from the above activity, example and question, it is clear for the moon to go around the earth because of this centripetal force. सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स की वजह से ही आपका जो मून है वो क्या कर पाता है, रोटेट कर पाता है अपने पर्टिकुलर ऑर्बिट में अराउंड द अर्थ. ओके, नाउ नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, केपलर्स लॉ. Kepler's law. Planetary motion had been observed by astronomers since ancient times. Before Galileo, all observation of the planet position were made with the naked eye. By the 16th century, a lot of data were available about the planetary position and the motion. Johannes Kepler studied this data. He noticed that the motion of planet followed the certain laws. He stated the 3 laws describing the planetary motion. These are known as the Kepler's law, which are given below. Before going to be Kepler's law, let's talk about the Kepler. Who was the Kepler? An introduction to scientist. Johannes Kepler, who was born in 1571 and died in 1630, was a German astronomer and a mathematician. He started working as a helper to the famous astronomer Tycho Brahe in Prague in 1600. After the sudden death of Brahe in 1601, Kepler was appointed as the royal mathematician in his place. Kepler used the observation of planetary position made by Brahe to discover the laws of planetary motion. He wrote the several books. His work is later used by Newton's postulating his law of gravitation. Johannes Kepler, the German astronomer who worked as assistant with the scientist Brahe. After the death of the Brahe, he was appointed as the royal mathematician in the place of Brahe. Okay, he was given his 3 laws by only observation. Okay, he did not have any theoretical supports why these laws obeyed by the sun and other planets in the universe. Now let's talk about the Kepler's law. The first laws of the Kepler, known as the laws of motion. The orbit of a planet is an ellipse with the sun at one of the foci. That means the sun is at the one of the focus or at one of the center, and the planet are rotating around itself or around the sun. In which orbit? Elliptical orbit. Now, second law, which is known as the laws of area. The line joining the planet and the sun sweeps equal areas in equal intervals. That means every planet which is joining with the sun, that line which join the sun and the planet, sweeps, that means move, okay, in equal areas with equal interval of time. That means every planet sweeps or move from the sun in equal areas with equal intervals. हर एक सेम पीरियड में इक्वल एरियाज में वो क्या करते हैं, आगे मूव करते रहते हैं, स्वीप करते रहते हैं. इसी को बोला गया सेकंड लॉ, दैट इज द लॉज ऑफ एरियाज. नाउ थर्ड लॉ which is known as the law of period. The square of period of revolution is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance of a planet from the sun. That means the square of period of time is directly proportional to the cube of the mean distance. जो mean distance है उससे वो डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शन कर रहा है, किससे, जो पीरियड ऑफ टाइम ले रहा है प्लैनेट मूव करने के लिए. ओके, दिस नोन एज द थर्ड लॉ ऑफ पीरियड. Now let's see, now let's understood all these laws with the help of the diagram. Sun is at the one of the foci and all the planet revolving around its orbit. Okay, second, the line joining the planet and the sun. Okay, the line which is joining the sun sweeps equal areas in equal interval of time. That means the length of S, you consider it as the sun as S. SC is equal to SA or the SAC is equal to the BCD. Okay. Now let's write this. The straight line AS sweep equal as a series. प्लैनेट को घूमने के लिए ए से बी तक जितना टाइम लग रहा है उतना ही टाइम लग रहा है सी को डी तक जाने के लिए. ठीक है, तो ये टाइम है जो इक्वल एरियाज इक्वल इंटरवल, इसको बोला गया है लॉज ऑफ एरिया. थर्ड, द लॉ ऑफ पीरियड, जो स्क्वायर ऑफ पीरियड है. ठीक है, जितना स्क्वायर ऑफ पीरियड है वो डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शन किससे कर रहा है, आपके आर क्यूब से. आर क्या आपका डिस्टेंस है, टी क्या है आपका टाइम है. टाइम स्क्वायर इज डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल टू द डिस्टेंस क्यूब. ओके, these all are the three laws given by the Kepler on the simple observation. What he observed, he do not have any kind of the theoretical supporting. Now Kepler obtained this law simply from the study of the position of the planet obtained by regular observation. He had no explanation as to why planets obey these laws. We will see below how this law helped the Newton to formulate his Newton's universal law of gravitation. Before going to be that, use your brain power. If the area ESF in figure 1.4, the area of ESF is equal to area ASB. So what you can infer about the EF to AB? ये एरिया जो आपको दिया गया है ESF का और ASB का, वो क्या है, इक्वल है एरिया ऑफ ESF, एरिया ऑफ ASB इक्वल है. तो आप EF के लिए क्या इन्फर कर सकते हो, AF के लिए हम लोग ये इन्फर कर सकते हैं कि EF इज इक्वल टू द AB. अगर एरिया दोनों का सेम है तो फिर दोनों का EF और AB क्या होगा, वो भी सेम रहेगा. ओके, नाउ कम टू द नेक्स्ट, न्यूटन्स यूनिवर्सल लॉ ऑफ ग्रेविटेशन. Newton's universal law of gravitation. Now, all the above consideration which is made by the Kepler's law, again utilized by whom? By the Newton's to formulate the theory of the universal law of gravitation. Okay. Now, according to this theory given by the Newton's, who had taken the help of the Kepler's law. Okay. Now, according to this theory, every object in the universe, हर ऑब्जेक्ट यूनिवर्स में क्या करता है, अट्रैक्ट करता है दूसरे ऑब्जेक्ट को डेफिनाइट फोर्स के साथ। और ये फोर्स कैसा होता है, डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शन होता है उसके प्रोडक्ट ऑफ मासेस से, और इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शन होता है उसके स्क्वायर ऑफ डिस्टेंस से। ओके, एवरी ऑब्जेक्ट इन द यूनिवर्स attract the other object, हर ऑब्जेक्ट यूनिवर्स में अट्रैक्ट करता है दूसरे ऑब्जेक्ट को एक डेफिनाइट फोर्स के साथ, विथ अ डेफिनाइट फोर्स। और ये फोर्स कैसा होता है, डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल होता है। इसको डायरेक्टली प्रोपोर्शनल होता है। The force is directly proportional to the product of masses. Product of masses means both the masses. So the two things which are attracting towards each other. Okay, that's why we have taken the product of masses. And inversely proportional to. Proportional to the square of distance. दोनों के डिस्टेंस के स्क्वायर को क्या होता है, इनवर्सली प्रोपोर्शनल होता है। ओके, नाउ टेक द डेरिवेशन फॉर दिस। नाउ कंसिडर these two objects. These are the two objects, astronomical objects, which are present in the earth. M1 and M2. Okay, they are both attracting towards each other with the definite force, that is your gravitational force. Okay, and are separated with the unique or definite distance, that is a d square. Now, the force, gravitational force, is directly proportional to the product of these two masses, M1 and M2, and it is inversely proportional to the d square, that is the distance which separates these two objects. Okay, F is directly proportional to the M1, M2 and inversely proportional to the d square, that is F is equal to G M1 M2 d square. G is what? G is your universal uniform circular motion, or the magnitude of centripetal force. Consider an object moving in a circle with a constant speed. कंसिडर करो एक ऑब्जेक्ट है जो आपका कंटिन्यूअस सर्कल में घूम रहा है कांस्टेंट स्पीड के साथ। We have seen earlier that such a motion is possible only when object is constantly moving or it is acted by the force it is directed toward the center. तो कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट है कब अपने तरफ पे कांस्टेंट स्पीड में घूमता है, जब उसपे कोई कांस्टेंट फोर्स एक्ट करता है जो सेंटर में स्टिक करते रहता है। ठीक है, वो कौन सा फोर्स है, हमारा सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स, जो हमेशा सेंटर स्टिकिंग फोर्स होता है। दिस फोर्स इज कॉल्ड द सेंट्रीपिटल फोर्स इफ m इज द मास ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट। अगर m क्या है, उस ऑब्जेक्ट का मास है, v क्या है, उसकी वेलोसिटी है of that object which are moving constantly in a uniform circular motion acted by the centripetal force. Okay, now with the it can be radius radius is r or the distance. So force is given by the mv square upon r. Okay. Now if a planet revolving around the sun, अगर कोई planet revolve कर रहा है around the sun with the circular motion and which is acted by the centripetal force. Okay, the centripetal force acting on the planet toward the sun must be F is equal to mv square upon r. Is again the same force given for the planet is F is equal to mv square upon r, where m is the mass, v is the velocity and r is the distance from the sun. Now the speed of the planet can be expressed in terms of period of revolution t as follows: radius or the distance of the planet from the sun. Okay, we are considering this expression for the planet who moving around the sun in elliptical order. Okay, with the distance r, mass m and velocity v. प्लैनेट है जो घूम रहा है कॉन्स्टेंटली सन के अराउंड में विद द स्पीड, इसके लिए एक्सप्रेशन कर देंगे F इज इक्वल टू mv स्क्वायर अपॉन r. नाउ लेट्स द डिस्टेंस ट्रैवल बाय द प्लैनेट इन वन रेवोल्यूशन. इसको वन रेवोल्यूशन पूरा करने के लिए to complete the one revolution around the sun which is equal to the perimeter of the circle. क्या रहेगा ये perimeter रहेगा उस सर्कल का. Okay, that is a one rotation revolution around the sun. There is nothing but the perimeter of that circle. Now perimeter is given by the, what is the formula of perimeter? 2 pi r. Okay, now first speed. What is the speed? Again, this distance traveled by the object. Distance. Last year we have studied about the speed. What is the speed? Distance traveled by the objects divided by the time taken for object to complete the one distance. Okay. Now again, speed is nothing but the v. Okay. V is equal to distance upon time. Distance taken by the planet to move in a one circle, that is the perimeter of circle, that is the 2 pi r upon t. Okay, t is the time which is taken by the planet to complete the one revolution around the sun, that is 2 pi r upon t. Okay, now F is equal to m v square upon r. Now but v is equal to what? Consider it as a 1. V is equal to what? 2 pi upon t. Put this 2 pi r upon t whole square upon r. F is equal to m 4 pi square r divided by t whole divided by r. Okay, that is nothing but m 4 m pi square divided by t square. Okay, now by multiplying and dividing with the r square, this is the second. Multiplying and dividing the equation second with r square, what do we get? F is equal to 4m pi square r square t r ओके बाय मल्टीप्लाई. अब इसको हम मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे, डिवाइड करेंगे आर स्क्वायर से, तो ये आर क्यूब हो जाएगा टी स्क्वायर आर स्क्वायर आ जाएगा, ठीक है। नाउ वी कैन राइट दिस सेम पाई स्क्वायर आर स्क्वायर इनटू आर क्यूब टी स्क्वायर, ओके। Now, according to Kepler's third law, F is equal to 4m pi r स्क्वायर। ये क्या है? कांस्टेंट है, ठीक है। तो इसको हम क्या कंसिडर करेंगे? k कंसिडर करेंगे। तो F इज इक्वल टू k इंटू आर क्यूब टी स्क्वायर, ओके। So that is nothing but the F is inversely proportional to the r cube t square, okay. This is the expression. So from this expression Newton has concluded the Newton's law of gravitation, which is a inversely proportional to the square law of gravitation, okay. Now thus Newton concluded that the centripetal force, which is the force acting on planet, it is responsible for its circular motion, must be inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the planet and the sun. Newton identified this force with the force of gravity and hence postulated the inverse square law of gravitation. With this force, the gravitational force is much weaker than other forces in nature, but it controls the universe and decides its future. This is the possible because of huge masses of planets, stars, and other constants in the universe. Okay, this force, the gravitational force, is very weak, but it controls the future of your planet, which is continuously moving around the universe. Come to the next. Solved example. Example first. Mahendra and Virat are sitting at a distance of 1 meter from each other. Their masses are 75 kg and 80 kg respectively. What is the gravitational force between them? Mahendra and Virat, who are sitting at a distance 1 meter, having the one mass 75 kg and another mass is 80 kg, and the gravitational constant 6.67 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. We have to calculate the force. Given data, write down the first given data. Okay. Then formula F is equal to G m1 m2 divided by r square. Now put the value which is given in your data. F is equal to 6.67 into 10 raised to power minus 11 into 75 kg into 18 kg divided by 1 square meter. Okay, after the calculation will come the F is equal to 4.002 into 10 raised to power minus 7 Newton. That means the gravitational force between Mahendra and Virat is F, that is 4.002 into 10 raised to power minus 7 Newton. Okay. Now come to the second example. In the above example, that what we have solved, assuming that the bench on which Mahendra and Virat are sitting is frictionless, that means there is no friction, starting with the velocity 0, that is the initial velocity u is equal to 0. What will be the Mahendra's velocity of motion towards Virat after 1 second? Will this velocity change with time and how? So what? Given force on Mahendra given as a 4.002 into 10 raised to power minus 7 Newton. M is equal to 75 kg is the mass of Mahendra. F is equal to ma. By using the Newton's second law of motion, F is equal to ma, that is A is equal to F divided by m. Now putting the values. 4.002 into 10 raised to power minus 7 divided by 75 is equal to, now after doing the calculation, the value come A is equal to 5.34 into 10 raised to power minus 9 meter per second square. Okay, we get the value of A. What we have to find out? The initial velocity of the Mahendra with which he moved towards the Virat using the Newton's first equation, that is V is equal to U plus AT. But we know bench is frictionless, that is the initial velocity is equal to 0. Okay, so V is equal to 0 plus 5.34 into 10 raised to power minus 9 into 1. So V is equal to 5.34 into 10 raised to power minus 9 meter per second. That means the Mahendra's velocity is 5.34 into 10 raised to power minus 9 meter per second. With this velocity, he will move towards the Virat. Okay. Now, do you know? You must be knowing about the high and low tides that occur regularly in the sea. The level of sea water at any given location along the seashore increases and decreases twice a day at regular intervals. High and low tides occur at a different times at a different places. The level of water in the sea changes because of the gravitational force which is exerted by the moon. Water directly under the moon gets pulled towards the moon and level of water there goes up, causing high tide at that place. At two places on the earth at 90 degrees from the place of high tide, the level of water is minimum and low tides occur there as given. Okay, shown in the figure. We have already learned about the tide, how the tide occur because of the gravitational pull of the moon. Okay. Now, Earth gravitational force. Okay. Earth's gravitational force. Now, will the velocity of a stone thrown vertically upwards remain constant or will it change with the time? How will it change? Why doesn't the stone move up all the time? Why does it fall down after reaching a certain height? What does its maximum height depend on? Okay. We'll do the one activity. Okay. What we do? We are throwing the ball, which is we are keeping in our hand and moving it towards the upward side. Okay. What happened? After some time, it going upward side. Okay. And after reaching a certain height, it come back to the earth. Now, why this object moving downwards? Okay, that means the earth might have the force which attracted towards which attracted the object towards the earth. The earth attracts every object near it because of the gravitational force. Okay, and which force present in the earth attracts it towards the earth is gravitational force which is present in the earth. Now, the center of the mass of the earth is situated at the center. The mass of the earth is situated at the center. That's why always object falling vertically downwards. The center of the earth, because of this force, an object falls vertically downwards on the earth. Similarly, when we throw the stone vertically upwards, this force tries to pull it down, which reduces its velocity, and due to this constant downward pull, velocity becomes zero. Ultimately, when you throw the ball, any stone or any object upward direction, the force constantly acted by the earth is gravitational force, ultimately which makes the object to attain the zero velocity. When you attain the zero velocity, okay, he fall down and come to the center of the earth. Okay. Now the pull continues to be exerted and the stone start moving vertically downward towards the center of the earth under the influence of the gravitational force exerted by the earth over a object. Solve example. Example 1. Solve example given on your page number 7. Calculate the gravitational force due to the earth on Mahendra. In the earlier example, given mass of the earth m1 is equal to 6 into 10 raised to power 24 kg. Radius of the earth r is equal to 6.4 into 10 raised to power 6 meter. Mahendra's mass m2 is equal to 75 kg. Gravitational constant g is equal to 6.67 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. Formula F is equal to G m1 m2 divided by r square. Now put the value in the given formula. F is equal to 6.67 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square into 6 into 10 raised to power 24 into kg into 75 kg divided by 6.4 into 10 raised to power 6. After doing the calculation, the F is equal to 733 Newton. Okay, the force which are present between the earth and the Mahendra is 733 Newton. Okay, now use your brain power. According to Newton's law of gravitation, every object attracts every other object. Thus, if the earth attracts an apple towards itself, the apple also attracts the earth towards itself, the same force. Why then does the apple fall down towards the earth, but the earth does not move towards the apple? Now, as per the Newton's law, the apple falls on the earth. Okay, but why then earth falls on apple? Again, because of the magnitude which is present in the earth. Magnitude of earth is more than apple. The mass of the earth is more than apple. That's why the acceleration of earth is reduces. That's why it does not fall over the apple. Apple falls on the earth. Earth does not fall on the apple because of the mass of the earth, because of the magnitude of the earth, and because of the acceleration of the earth. Okay. Now come to the next. The gravitational force due to the earth also acts on the moon, because of which it revolves around the earth. Similar situation exists for the artificial satellite orbiting the earth. The moon and the artificial satellite orbit the earth. The earth attracts them towards itself. But unlike the falling apple, they do not fall on the earth. Why? This is because of the velocity of the moons and the satellite along their orbits. If this velocity was not there, they would have fallen on the earth. Okay? Your apple does not have any kind of force or any kind of motion. That's why it falls on the earth. Unlike the apple, while the other planet or the other astronomical bodies, for example moon, does not fall over the earth because of its rotation and the revolution around the earth in a particular orbit. Okay, that's why all the astronomical bodies do not fall over the earth or on other planet. Okay, now Earth's gravitational acceleration. Earth's gravitational acceleration. The earth exerts gravitational force on objects near it. According to Newton's second law of motion, a force acting on a body results in its acceleration. Thus, the gravitational force to the earth on a body results in its acceleration. This is called acceleration due to the gravity. It is denoted by g. Now, gravitational acceleration. जब कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट अर्थ के इन्फ्लुएंस में आता है और वो एक्सेलरेट होता है बिकॉज ऑफ द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ द ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स ऑन एनी बॉडी व्हेन gravitational force act and accelerating, the force is known as the gravitational acceleration. Okay, and it is denoted by the g. Gravitational acceleration is a vector quantity. That means it has the direction. Okay, and direction always towards the center of the earth. Now, what would happen if there were no gravity? अगर gravity ही नहीं होगी तो क्या होगा? All the object will fall and will be a double in their mass. Okay, so that's why it is hard to pull the things. It is hard human being to survive on the earth. Okay, what will happen if the value of g was twice as large? Again, अगर ग्रेविटेशनल कांस्टेंट की वैल्यू को हम ट्वाइस कर लेंगे तो फिर क्या होगा? अगेन व्हाट विल हैपन? If the value of g is double, so weight of all the objects of the earth will become double, making simple tasks like a picking of object will difficult for all human beings. Now let's find out the value of g, that is the gravitational acceleration. We have find out the value of g by using the Newton's universal law of gravitation. We are all know F is equal to gmm divided by r square. Okay. Now F is also is equal to mg. So now comparing the equation third and fourth, mg is equal to gmm divided by r square. Now what we do? We have cancelled m and m here also. So g is equal to gm upon r square. Now putting the values, g is equal to 6.67 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. M is the mass of the earth, 6 into 10 raised to power 24. R, radius of the earth, 6.4 into 10 raised to power 6 of the square. Okay. Now after the calculation we come to the value of g, that is 9.77 meter per second square. Okay. With the help of Newton's universal law of gravitation, we have found out the value of g, that is the gravitational acceleration, 9.77 meter per second square. Okay. Now variation in value of g. Okay, now what factor which variate the value of g? The first, change along the surface of the earth. Will the value of g on the g is always same everywhere on the earth? The answer is no. This reason because of the earth is not spherical and the distance of the point on the surface of the earth from the center differ somewhat from place to place. Due to its rotation, the earth bulges at the equator. And if we see the earth's shape, it's not a completely spherical. That is, it bulges at the equator and it somewhat plane at your pole. So when you come to the flatter equator and the poles, it area largest at the equator and the smallest at the poles. Okay. The value of g thus highest at the pole. Okay. That means the value of g highest at poles, that is 9.832 meter per second square and decreases slowly at the equator. When you go to the equator, it decreases how much? 9.78 meter per second square. Okay. Highest at the poles, it decreases at the equator, that is a 9.78. Second, change with the height. As we go above the earth's surface, the value of r in equation 5, which is we have already seen, and the value of g decreases as we go up to the height. If we increase the height, what happened with the value of g? The value of g decreases. Again same. Okay, जैसे जैसे आप हाइट पे जाते हो आपकी वैल्यू ऑफ जी क्या होती है, डिक्रीज होती जाती है. Okay, now however the decrease is rather small for heights which are small in a comparison to the earth's radius. For example, radius of the earth is 6400 किलोमीटर. हमें पता है कि रेडियस कितना है अर्थ का, 6400 किलोमीटर. अगर आप 10 किलोमीटर अबव जाते हो, that means you are adding 10 kilometer in the radius of the earth, that is a 6 for 10 kilometer. Okay, on the other hand, when we consider the artificial satellite orbiting the earth, we have to take into the account the change in the value of g due to the large change in the distance. The small changes in the distance will not affect the value of g. The large changes of the distance affect the value of g. That is a decrease in the value of the g. Now next is your change with the depth. As we go depth into the depth, we reduce the radius of the earth. जैसे ही हम डेप्थ पे जाते हैं अर्थ के, तो हम क्या करते हैं, रेडियस उसका रिड्यूस करते हैं. और जब रेडियस रिड्यूस होती है तो हमारी वैल्यू भी जी की क्या होती है, रिड्यूस होती है. ठीक है, और वो अल्टीमेटली जीरो हो जाती है सेंटर पे. व्हेन वी कम टू द सेंटर ऑफ द अर्थ, इट बिकम्स द जीरो. ओके, दिस द वैल्यू ऑफ द वेरिएशन ऑफ द वैल्यू ऑफ जी. Change along the surface of the earth, change with the height and change with the depth. So in all the cases we find the highest at the poles and lowest at the equator. When increase the height, value of g decreases, again radius of value g decreases and the value of g also decreases. Okay, and ultimately zero become at the center of the earth. Now think about it. Will the direction of the gravitational force change as we go inside the earth? No. The gravitational force is always towards the center of the earth. Direction of the force does not change, always toward the center of the earth. Okay, what will be the value of g at the center of earth? At the center of the earth, the value of g is 0. Why is 0? Because of the decrease in the magnitude of the radius and the mass. मास और रेडियस के मैग्नीट्यूड के कम हो जाने की वजह से अल्टीमेटली जीरो हो जाती है वो सेंटर ऑफ द अर्थ. ओके, नाउ एवरी प्लैनेट एंड सैटेलाइट हैज अ डिफरेंट मास एंड रेडियस. हेंस अकॉर्डिंग टू द इक्वेशन द वैल्यूज ऑफ जी ऑन देयर सरफेस आर डिफरेंट. ऑन द मून इट इज अ 1/6. ठीक है, हर जगह पर, हर प्लैनेट पर, हर एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल बॉडीज पर जी की वैल्यू क्या करेंगे, आपकी वेरिएट करेंगी. It is different on moon and different on the earth. अर्थ पर g की वैल्यू क्या होंगी, आपकी डिफरेंट होंगी, और मून पर क्या होंगी, वो डिफरेंट होंगी. कितना है इनका डिफरेंस, 1/6. ओके, अर्थ हैज द 6 times more gravitational acceleration as compared to the moon. If you are walking on the moon, you have to put the more pressure. Why? Because of this difference in the gravitational acceleration. Okay, now come to the next point, mass and weight. Mass, what is the mass? What is the mass and what is the weight? So first, mass is the amount of matter which is present in any object. ऐसा अमाउंट ऑफ मैटर है जो प्रेजेंट होता है, ये क्वांटिटी बेस्ड है. ठीक है, तो अमाउंट ऑफ मैटर विच इज प्रेजेंट, अमाउंट ऑफ मैटर प्रेजेंट इन ऑब्जेक्ट. ओके, फर्स्ट वी टॉक अबाउट द मास, देन विल कम टू द वेट. अमाउंट ऑफ मैटर विच इज प्रेजेंट इन द ऑब्जेक्ट फर्स्ट. सेकंड, स्केलर क्वांटिटी है, इसके लिए डायरेक्शन की जरूरत आपको नहीं होती है, इट्स अ स्केलर क्वांटिटी. थर्ड, इट इज मेजर्ड इन केजी. ठीक है, जो हम बार बार इस्तेमाल करते हैं वर्ड वेट, इट इज नॉट वेट, एक्चुअली इट इज अ मास विच इज मेजर्ड इन द kg, amount of matter. नेक्स्ट है आपका द वैल्यू डज नॉट चेंज. इसकी वैल्यू कहीं पर भी आप लेकर जाएंगे ना यूनिवर्स में, इसकी वैल्यू चेंज नहीं होगी. वैल्यू इज डज नॉट चेंज. अगर आप कोई भी चीज का वे करोगे अर्थ पर और सेम उसको वे करोगे मून पर, तो उतना ही वेट ऑफ अमाउंट ऑफ मैटर आपको बताएगा. दैट मीन्स द वैल्यू ऑफ द मास इज डज नॉट चेंज इन एनीवेयर. नाउ अगेन इट मेजर्स द इनर्शिया. अभी क्या मेजर करती है? इट मेजर्स द इनर्शिया. ये इनर्शिया मेजर करती है. ओके, इनर्शिया. इनर्शिया क्या है भाई? इनर्शिया एक प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ मैटर है जो कंटिन्यूअसली एग्जिस्ट करती है अपने आप को स्टेट में रखने के लिए. एक ऑब्जेक्ट है वो रेजिस्ट करता है सारी तरह की फोर्सेस को अपने आप को यूनिफॉर्म स्टेट में रखने के लिए. ठीक है, रेजिस्टेंस. ठीक है, इसको सिंपल वर्ड में हम कह सकते हैं. उसके बाद है आपका वेट. नाउ व्हाट इज द वेट? वेट इज द फोर्स which is exerted by the mass or object. Force exerted by object. ठीक है, कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट कितना फोर्स एक्सर्ट कर रहा है अर्थ पर, अभी कोई भी एस्ट्रोनॉमिकल बॉडीज पर, ठीक है, उसको कहेंगे आप वेट. सेकंड, वेट की क्या है? वेक्टर क्वांटिटी है. ये हमेशा टुवर्ड्स द सेंटर ऑफ द अर्थ रहेगी. थर्ड, इसको हम मेजर करते हैं न्यूटन में. इसको हम किससे मेजर करते हैं? केजी में मेजर करते हैं. इसको हम न्यूटन में करते हैं. अब इसकी वैल्यू चेंज नहीं होती मास की, जबकि वेट की वैल्यू क्या होंगी आपकी? चेंज होंगी. वैल्यू चेंजेस. ओके, इट डिफर फ्रॉम प्लेस टू प्लेस. अगेन इट डज नॉट मेजर द इनर्शिया. ओके, नाउ वेट इज गिवन एज F इज इक्वल टू F. व्हाट इज द वेट? वेट इज द फोर्स. तो फोर्स इज इक्वल टू mg. तो वेट इज इक्वल टू mg. ओके, नाउ mg. अगेन g की वैल्यू क्या फाइंड आउट की थी हमने? g क्या था हमारा? gm अपॉन r स्क्वायर. तो यही हम इसमें पुट डाउन कर देंगे. तो f w क्या हो जाएगा हमारा? m इंटू gm अपॉन r स्क्वायर. दैट इज gmm r स्क्वायर. तो ये हमारा अल्टीमेट ये एक्सप्रेशन भी हम वेट के लिए इस्तेमाल कर सकते हैं. वेट बीइंग अ फोर्स, ऐसा यूनिट क्या है उसका? न्यूटन है. वेक्टर क्वांटिटी है. डायरेक्शन कहाँ पर उसकी? टुवर्ड्स द सेंटर ऑफ द अर्थ है. और ये क्या होती है? चेंज होती है वैल्यू. नाउ विल योर वेट रिमेन कांस्टेंट एज यू गो अबव द सरफेस ऑफ द अर्थ? यस, नो, योर वेट विल बी डिफर. ओके, suppose you are standing on a ladder. If your distance from the center of the earth is 2r, आपका डिस्टेंस कितना दिया है इन्होंने? आप एक अर्थ पे हो, एक लैडर पे खड़े हो. ठीक है, आपका डिस्टेंस कितना दिया है इन्होंने? 2r दिया है. तो आपका वेट क्या होगा? ठीक है, w पूछा है इन्होंने. आपको पता है w क्या है? mg, राइट? mg है. इसके बाद है आपका, हमने अल्टीमेटली एक्सप्रेशन निकाला उसका gmm r स्क्वायर. ठीक है, अब ये r जो कितना है आपका 2 टाइम्स हो गया है, तो इसको हम क्या करेंगे? मल्टीप्लाई कर लेंगे 2 से. तो ये कैसे आएगा? gmm इंटू 2 इंटू r स्क्वायर. ये भी आप ले लो. ओके, that is nothing but the gmm 4r स्क्वायर. तो अर्थ के कितना रहेगा वो? 1/4. 4 डबल रहेगा वो. उसका वेट कितना करेगा? उसका अर्थ से कंपेरेटिवली उसका वेट कितना रहेगा? 4 टाइम्स मोर रहेगा. ओके, वेट ऑन अर्थ इंटू 4. 1/4 इंटू वेट ऑन अर्थ. तो जितना अर्थ पर वेट कर रहा है ना, उसका वो 4 टाइम रहेगा. स्पेस के लैडर पे अगर वो खड़े रहेगा, डबल रेडियस होगी इसकी अर्थ की. तो नाउ एग्जांपल, इफ अ पर्सन weighs 750 न्यूटन ऑन अर्थ, हाउ मच वुड बी हिज weight on the moon? Given that the moon mass is 181 of that of the earth and its radius is 1 upon 3.7 of that of the earth. ठीक है, अब एग्जांपल आपको दिया है, इसको आपको क्या करना है, सॉल्व करना है। इसको हम सॉल्व करते हैं। सबसे पहले हम लिखेंगे गिवन डाटा। गिवन डाटा क्या क्या दिया है इन्होंने, सबसे पहले वो नोट डाउन कर लीजिए। ओके, वेट ऑन अर्थ, शॉर्टकट लिखते हैं थोड़ा सा, वेट ऑन अर्थ 750 न्यूटन। इसका वेट कितना है, 750 न्यूटन है। अब रेशियो बोला है इन्होंने अर्थ का और मास के साथ, मून के साथ कितना दिया है, मास ऑफ द अर्थ टू द मास ऑफ द मून, दैट इज 81। और इसको मैं ऐसे भी लिख सकती हूँ, मास ऑफ द मून टू दी मास ऑफ दी अर्थ विच इज इक्वल टू 1/81। ठीक है, और इसके अलावा बोला है रेडियस, रेशियो बोला है यहाँ पे रेडियस ऑफ द अर्थ टू द रेडियस ऑफ द मून, RE डिवाइडेड बाय RM इज इक्वल टू 3.7। ओके, अब मास हमको क्या करना है, मास ऑफ द पर्सन mkg, मून पर उसका मास कितना होगा ये हमको फाइंड आउट करना है। ओके, तो सबसे पहले देखते हैं कि वेट ऑन दी अर्थ पर उसका कितना वेट है, फिर उसको फाइंड आउट करेंगे वेट ऑन मून, फिर मून पर उसका वेट कितना आ रहा है। ठीक है, फिर इसको कंपेयर करके हमको m की वैल्यू फाइंड आउट करेंगे। ओके, तो सबसे पहले लेते हैं लेट द मास ऑफ दी वेट ऑन अर्थ m g m E डिवाइडेड बाय R स्क्वायर E और इसको मून से कंपेयर करेंगे। ठीक है, अब दोनों को कंपेयर करते हैं और वैल्यू फाइंड आउट करते हैं। 750 इज इक्वल टू, okay, solve example. If a person weighs 750 Newton on earth, how much will be his weight on the moon, given that moon's mass is 1/81 of that of the earth and radius is 1/3.7 of that of the earth. First write down the data. Weight on the earth 750 Newton, then ratio of the mass divided by mass of the moon 81, or mass of the moon to the mass of the earth 1/81, ratio of the radius earth to the ratio of the radius moon, which is given by 3.7. Now first weight on earth and weight on the moon, comparing the both the equation GME into m divided by R square E. Again weight on moon GMM into m divided by R square m. We cancel the G, then we have modulate the formula m is equal to 750 RE square divided by GME into GMM R square m. Again cancel the G. Okay, 750 into RE square divided by RM square into m divided by ME. Putting the value 750 into 3.7 square into 1/81. After the calculation we get the value 126.8 Newton. That means the person will weigh 126.8 Newton on the moon. Okay, now gravitational waves. Do you know waves are created on the surface of water when we drop the stone on it. हमको पता है जब हम कोई भी स्टोन पानी में डालते हैं it creates the wave. So similarly the waves again created in the your universe also. Okay, we are all known about the waves: light waves, gamma wave, rays, X-rays, ultraviolet, infrared rays. Okay, the same rays are present in the universe, that is a gravitational waves. Okay, these gravitational waves are very big, very hard to detect them, but after some experiment the scientists had made the instrument LIGO, LIGO भी कहते हैं इसको हम, that is the light laser inframetric gravitational observatory instrument. Okay, with this instrument we can detect the gravitational waves. Now come to the next point, free fall. What is the free fall? Free fall. Take a small stone, hold in your hand and drop it from the height. What do you observe? So you know the force of the gravity is act over the object, and every object is acted by the force of the gravity. When we drop the stone from the hand, it will start to fall down under the influence of the gravity. Okay. Once we release the stone from our hand, it start to move down. Whenever object moves under the influence of the gravity, जब कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट मूव करता है फ्रीली अंडर द influence of the gravity alone is known as free fall. Whenever the object move under the influence of, इसके influence में alone the influence of the gravity, under the influence of earth gravity alone, is called free fall. चॉक पीस है, हम उसको ड्रॉप करेंगे नीचे पे तो क्या होगा? इट विल स्टार्ट टू बी मूव डाउन. दिस इज नथिंग बट द फ्री फॉल. बट व्हाइल डूइंग द फ्री फॉल, नॉट ओनली द earth gravitational force alone acted over it. Okay, so why? Now we'll see. Not only the one of the force present on the earth, the other force also acted over the object. What kind of force? Suppose we are dropping the stone. Okay, other force like a frictional force also acted over it, acting similarly way. ठीक है, उसी वक्त पे फ्रिक्शनल वेव भी क्या होगा? फोर्स भी एक्ट कर रहा होगा. एयर फोर्स भी इस पर एक्ट कर रहा होगा, विंड फोर्स. ठीक है, तो ये अलोन जब फोर्स एक्ट करता है आपका अर्थ के ऊपर, ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स, तभी उसको हम क्या कहेंगे? फ्री फॉल. नाउ गैलीलियो ने इससे पहले ही एक्सपेरिमेंट करके देख लिया था. ही फॉल द ऑब्जेक्ट स्टोन एंड द फेदर फ्रॉम द लीनिंग piece up. Okay, what you observe? The stone and the feather both are falling on the earth surface, but feather receive the more frictional force, more wind force. That's why feather takes more time to come down, and stone cuts all the force which is acted over it by the atmosphere. That's why it comes early. ये जल्दी पहुंच जाता है और ये लेट पहुंचता है. Why? Because of he failed to cut all the force which is acted over it by the atmosphere. But when this experiment conducted under the vacuum, this same experiment जब vacuum में conduct किया गया, तो what scientists observe? The both stone and feather takes the equal time. ये दोनों कितना टाइम लगाए? इक्वल टाइम लगाए जमीन पर आने के लिए, to come onto the earth surface. Okay, that means whenever the object move under the influence of earth gravity alone, it is nothing but your free fall. Now for a freely falling object, the velocity on reaching the earth and the time taken for it can be calculated by using equation of motion. Okay, we can calculate it with the help of Newton's equation motion. When u initial velocity यहाँ पर क्या होगी? आपकी जीरो होगी. v is equal to u plus at. अब यहाँ पे इनिशियल वेलोसिटी क्या है? जीरो है. ओके, एंड a इज इक्वल टू, अब यहाँ पे एक्सेलरेशन क्या है हमारा? ग्रेविटेशनल एक्सेलरेशन है. ठीक है, ऑब्जेक्ट किसकी वजह से एक्सेलरेट हो रहा है? यहाँ पे अर्थ की ग्रेविटी की वजह से. ठीक है, इसलिए हम लोग क्या इस्तेमाल करेंगे? ग्रेविटेशनल एक्सेलरेशन इस्तेमाल करेंगे. नाउ v इज इक्वल टू देन g t. ओके, दिस इज द फर्स्ट इक्वेशन फॉर द फ्री फॉल. Second, s is equal to ut plus half of at square. Okay, again u is equal to 0. 0 into t plus half of g. g t स्क्वायर। ओके, तो फिर क्या हो जाएगा अल्टीमेटली हाफ ऑफ g t स्क्वायर। ये सेकंड इक्वेशन है न्यूटन्स का, मॉडिफाइड किया हुआ है इसके लिए फ्री फॉल के लिए। थर्ड इक्वेशन है आपका v स्क्वायर। न्यूटन्स का थर्ड इक्वेशन क्या है, v स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू यू स्क्वायर प्लस 2as। ठीक है, वेलोसिटी डिस्प्लेसमेंट वाला इक्वेशन है ये, इसको हमने मॉडिफाइड किया है। v स्क्वायर इज इक्वल टू यू क्या है आपका 0 है प्लस 2g है 2gs। तो फिर हमको अल्टीमेटली थर्ड इक्वेशन क्या मिल रहा है 2gs। ठीक है, तो ये इसका क्या है थर्ड इक्वेशन ये। ओके, जो मॉडिफाइड किया गया है फ्री फॉल के लिए। नाउ फॉर कैलकुलेटिंग द मोशन ऑफ एन ऑब्जेक्ट विच इज थ्रोन अपवर्ड, जब हम कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट अपवर्डली थ्रो करते हैं तो वो हमेशा कैसा होता है, माइनस में होता है। तो इसलिए हम यहाँ पर जो कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट है उसकी वेलोसिटी का कंसीडर करेंगे, माइनस में इसका मैग्नीट्यूड लेंगे। ओके, व्हाई, बिकॉज ऑफ द नेगेटिव एक्सेलरेशन। द मून एंड द आर्टिफिशियल सैटेलाइट्स आर मूविंग ओनली अंडर द इन्फ्लुएंस ऑफ ग्रेविटेशनल फील्ड ऑफ द अर्थ, thus दे आर इन फ्री फॉल। ओके, तो कैसे होंगे, फ्री फॉल में रहते हैं हमेशा। जो भी ऑब्जेक्ट है आपके अर्थ के अराउंड घूमने वाला, वो किसके इन्फ्लुएंस में घूम रहा है, सिर्फ ग्रेविटेशनल इन्फ्लुएंस की वजह से ही घूम रहा है। ठीक है, अलोन, दैट्स व्हाई दे आर ऑलवेज इन फ्री फॉल। डू यू नो द वैल्यू ऑफ g is the same for all the objects at a given place on the earth, thus any two objects is irrespective of their masses or any other properties when dropped from the same height and falling freely will reach the earth at the same time। ठीक है, जब हम कोई भी चीज, अभी हम वैसे आपको मैंने एक्सप्लेन किया कि स्टोन है, फेदर है, दोनों को भी आप छोड़ोगे तो दोनों को भी टाइम लगेगा सेम। अगर हम वैक्यूम में कंडक्ट करते एक्सपेरिमेंट तो बोथ टेक द इक्वल टाइम। ओके, नाउ कम टू द नेक्स्ट सॉल्व एग्जांपल। Solve example. Example 1. An iron ball of mass 3 kg is released from a height 125 meter and falls freely to the ground. Assuming that the value of g is 10 meter per second square. Calculate. First, time taken by the ball to reach the ground, velocity of the ball reaching the ground, then height of the ball at half time at takes it reach to the ground. Now let's see the given data. M is equal to 3 kg, S is equal to 125 meter, U is equal to, that is initial velocity 0, A or acceleration due to gravity is equal to 10 meter per second square. By using the first Newton's second equation to find out the time taken by the ball to reach the ground. S is equal to half of gt square. S, that is the 125 meter, put the value in the given formula. 125 is equal to 1 by 2 into 10 into t square. Okay, which is equal to the 5t square. T square is equal to, okay, t square is equal to 125 divided by 5 into is equal to 25, which is equal to the 5 second. That means it takes 5 second time to reach the ball to the ground. Now next, find out the velocity. Velocity v is equal to gt again, which is equal to, g is equal to 10 meter per second square, put the value in the given formula, into 5, which is equal to 50 meter per second. The velocity is 50 meter per second. Now half time. First we have to, what we have to do? We have to first take down the half time. T is equal to 5 by 2, that is at 2.5 second. Now by using the Newton's second equation, S is equal to half of 80 square. S is equal to half of into 10 into 2.5 square. Again S is equal to 31.25 meter. What we have to calculate? We have to calculate the height of the ball for the half time. Okay, so what we have to do? We have to subtract the value 125 minus 31.25. is equal to 93.75 meter. That means the height of the ball is 93.75 meter. Okay.
Stop.
Gravitational potential energy. In last standard we have studied about the potential energy. What is the potential energy? When energy stored in any object because of its position, its size or its shape is known as the potential energy. This energy is relative and increases as we go to the greater height. Okay. For example, if we consider the one ball, it is on the surface of the earth. It affect anything on the surface of earth? No. But if we take it up to the height, certain height, okay, and we fall over it, so what he do? He will create a one kind of hole. जैसे हम कोई पत्थर है जमीन पे पड़ा है, उसका कोई इफेक्ट हमको नहीं देखने को मिलेगा. But as we take it to the up to some height, we fall, we release it. What will happen? It affect the surface of the earth, and this effect is because of the position of the earth, because of the size of the object, because of the shape of the object. And this is why how happened? Because of the potential energy which is concentrated in the object. This energy is relative and increases as we go to the height. Okay, that is h from the ground, and it is given as the mgh. Potential energy is given as the mgh. Mass, acceleration due to gravity, h is your height. Okay. Now when h is the small compared to the radius of the earth, जब h आपका small होता है as compared to the radius of the earth, so we can assume the g to be constant and can use the above formula mgh. Okay. But when the value of h is larger than your radius of the earth, okay, so what we have to do? For object at infinite distance from the earth, the value of g is 0 and earth's gravitational force does not act on the object. So it is a more appropriate to assume the value of potential energy to be the 0. Okay. When it is at the infinite distance, we have to assume the value of the g is 0. So ultimately the whole expression becomes the 0, right? m into अगर मास है तो मैं इसको ग्रेविटी 0 कर ले रही हूँ और हाइट, ठीक है, अल्टीमेटली पूरा एक्सप्रेशन क्या हो जाएगा? इसका 0 हो जाएगा. तो ऐसे वक्त आप पोटेंशियल एनर्जी काउंट कर सकते हैं क्या? नहीं. ओके. Thus for a smaller distances, that is the heights, the potential energy is less than 0. It is always a negative. ठीक है, हमेशा ये कैसे रहेगा? आपका नेगेटिव रहेगा. When object is at a height h from the surface of the earth, the potential energy is given as the negative gmm divided by r plus h. Okay. Here m is the mass and r is the radius of the earth respectively. Now next point, escape velocity. What is escape velocity? When we throw any objects in the atmosphere, what happens? It ultimately come down. Okay. If we increase the initial velocity, हम जब कोई भी चीज को ऊपर थ्रो करते तो क्या होता है? आपका वापस आके जमीन पे गिरता है. उसको और जोर से फेंकते हैं, वो और ऊपर जाता है, ज़्यादा ऊपर जाता है, फिर आके जमीन पे गिरता है. अब इसका मतलब हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? वी आर इंक्रीजिंग द इनिशियल वेलोसिटी. जैसे जैसे हम वेलोसिटी, इनिशियल वेलोसिटी को इंक्रीज करते जाते हैं और अल्टीमेटली एक ऐसा पॉइंट आता है जहां पर ऑब्जेक्ट क्या होता है? आपका अंडर द इन्फ्लुएंस ग्रेविटी के बाहर हो जाता है. ठीक है, इन्फ्लुएंस जो होता है उसके ऊपर ग्रेविटी का, उसके वो बाहर हो जाता है. इट एग्जिस्ट the influence of gravity. ठीक है, मतलब वो escape हो जा रहा है. यहाँ पर क्या हो जा रहा है? वो escape हो जा रहा है gravitational force से. ठीक है, और उसको क्या कहेंगे आप? escape velocity. Okay. Now see the explanation. we have seen that when a ball is thrown upward, its velocity decreases and ultimately it becomes zero and fall on the earth. Okay. Now, according to Newton's third equation, when it's maximum, when we increase the maximum velocity, initial velocity, ultimately एक ऐसा पॉइंट आएगा जहां पर वो क्या हो जाएगा, ग्रेविटेशनल इन्फ्लुएंस से escape velocity. Okay, we have seen that when a ball is thrown upward, its velocity decreases because of the gravitational of the earth. The velocity becomes zero at after reaching a certain height, and after that it fall ground on the falling down. Okay, means after achieving the maximum height, okay, it becomes zero and the maximum height depend upon the initial velocity. कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट जब हम ऊपर थ्रो करते हैं हवा में, ठीक है, वो किस पे डिपेंड करती है, उसकी हाइट, कि आपने उसको कितना इनिशियल वेलोसिटी दिया है, उसके ऊपर ये डिपेंड करेगी कि वो कितना हाइट अटेम्प्ट करेगा. ठीक है, जैसे आप इनिशियल वेलोसिटी आप आपकी इंक्रीज करते जाओगे तो उसकी हाइट भी क्या होंगी, आपकी इंक्रीज होगी. नाउ अकॉर्डिंग टू द न्यूटन्स थर्ड इक्वेशन ऑफ मोशन, अब यहाँ पे हमको क्या है, इनिशियल वेलोसिटी हमको दी गई है, फाइनल वेलोसिटी क्या है हमारी, जीरो है. फाइनल वेलोसिटी क्यों जीरो है, क्योंकि आफ्टर रीचिंग अ सर्टेन हाइट योर वेलोसिटी बिकम्स जीरो. जब फाइनल वेलोसिटी जीरो हो जाती है उसकी वजह से क्या होता है, जिसके इन्फ्लुएंस में आ जाता है, आपके ग्रेविटी के इन्फ्लुएंस में आ जाता है और वो फॉल करता है डाउनवर्ड्स. ओके, सो बाय यूजिंग द न्यूटन्स थर्ड इक्वेशन ऑफ मोशन, v square is equal to u square plus 2as. Here v is equal to 0, a is equal to minus g. Okay, so again putting the value, 0 is equal to u square plus 2 minus 2gs. Okay, so what we are doing, we have taken u square here, u square is equal to 2 minus gs. What we have to find out, we have to find out the height. Okay, maximum height which is attained by the object, which is we can find out with the help of u square minus 2g. Okay, with the help of the Newton's third equation of motion, we can find out the maximum height which is attained by the object. Thus, higher the initial velocity, larger the height of the ball. Now, the force pulling the ball downward decreases as the ball goes. If we are keeping the increase the initial velocity of the ball, it will larger and larger the heights, and at the particular height it overcome the downward force of the earth and escape it forever and does not fall back towards the earth. और एक अल्टीमेटली ऐसा पॉइंट आएगा तब वो क्या करेगा, अंडर द इन्फ्लुएंस जो उसके ऊपर अभी तक हो रहा है ग्रेविटेशन, उसको क्या कर देगा, ओवरकम कर लेगा और हमेशा के लिए क्या हो जाएगा, एस्केप हो जाएगा आपकी किससे, इन्फ्लुएंस से, ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स की. ओके, नाउ एन ऑब्जेक्ट गोइंग वर्टिकली अपवर्ड्स फ्रॉम द सरफेस ऑफ द अर्थ हैविंग इनिशियल वेलोसिटी इक्वल टू द एस्केप वेलोसिटी escapes the gravitational force of the earth. The force of gravity being inversely proportional to the square of the distance becomes the zero only in infinite distance. Okay, at the infinite distance the value becomes zero and the object it forever keep into that place. Okay, this means that for the object to be the free from the gravity of the earth, it has to reach the infinite distance from the earth. That is, the object will come to the rest at infinite distance and will stay there. Okay, now on the surface of earth, when a mass of an object, when it on the surface of the earth, kinetic energy is half of mv square. We have taken the escape velocity. Why we have, because we have to find out the escape velocity, that's why we have taken the escape. Potential energy, again the expression that we have seen in the potential energy point, gm upon r. Now total energy, kinetic energy plus potential energy. Okay, with the help of the conservation energy we can find out the total energy, kinetic energy plus potential energy, which is equal to half of mv square plus minus gm upon r, which is equal to half of mv square escape velocity minus gmm upon r. Now what we have did, we have taken this expression to the right side. Half of mv square is equal to gmm upon r. Here the mm get cancelled, so v square escape velocity is equal to 2gm upon r. So here the square, then v escape velocity is equal to the under the square root of 2gm upon r, which ultimately equal to 2gr. What we have did, we have put down the values. 2 into g. What is the value of g? 9.8. Radius. What is the value of radius? Is your again 6 into 10 raised to power 6. Okay, and find the value 11.2 kilometer per second. Okay, this when the object on the surface of the earth. But when the object at the infinite distance, your potential energy become the infinity. जब आपका ऑब्जेक्ट infinite distance पे होता है, ठीक है, तो उसकी वैल्यू क्या हो जाती है? 0 हो जाती है. तो अल्टीमेटली पूरा एक्सप्रेशन भी क्या होता है आपका? 0 हो जाता है. इसलिए एक्सप्रेशन किस लिए है आपका? When the object on the surface of the earth. Okay, now the spacecraft which are sent to the moon or other planets have to increase their initial velocity larger than the escape velocity, so that they can overcome the Earth's gravitational attraction and can travel to this object. और इसीलिए जो हम कोई भी चीज़ स्पेसक्राफ्ट में भेजते हैं, उसकी इनिशियल वेलोसिटी क्या होती है? हमेशा बहुत ज़्यादा होती है, ताकि वो क्या करे? ग्रेविटेशनल अट्रैक्शन जो अर्थ का है उसको क्या कर सके? ओवरकम कर सके. Now see the example. Last example. Solve example. Example 1, which is given in your page number 14. Calculate the escape velocity on the surface of the moon, given the mass and radius of the moon to be 7.34 into 10 raised to power 22 kg and 1.74 into 10 raised to power 6 meter respectively. Now see the given data. G is equal to the 6.67 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. Mass of the moon 7.34 into 10 raised to power 22 kg. Radius of the moon 1.74 into 10 raised to power 6 meter. Okay. Formula: V escape velocity. Okay. Under the square root of 2gm upon r. Put the value 2 into under the square root of 2 into 6.67 into 10 raised to power minus 11 into 7.34 into 10 raised to power 22 divided by 1.74 into 10 raised to power 6. After the calculation, we get the value 2.37 km per second. That means the escape velocity of the moon is 2.37 km per second. Okay. Now, do you know weightlessness in space is observed in the space? Have you observed all the spacecraft, the astronomers floating in the spacecraft? Okay. Why does this happen? It happens because of the height of the space center or space station from the surface of the earth. Here the value of G is not 0. It is always less than 11%. Okay. ये जो वेटलेसनेस फील होती है वो किसकी वजह से होती है? जो वैल्यू होती है वो कितनी होती है? आपकी 11% लेस होती है, उसकी वजह से वेटलेसनेस फील होती है. एंड ऑब्जेक्ट्स आर इन द स्टेट ऑफ द फ्री फॉल. जो भी ऑब्जेक्ट है स्पेस स्टेशन में वो कौन से स्टेट में रहते हैं? फ्री फॉल में रहते हैं. इसकी वजह से हमको वो कैसे दिखते हैं? वेटलेस दिखते हैं और मूविंग दिखते हैं, रोटेट करते हुए दिखते हैं. ओके. Thus, if a traveler release an object from her hand, it will remain stationary with respect to her hand and will appear to be weightless. Okay. Here we finish the chapter. Hope you have all understood.